Imagine living without the burdens that tie you to the past. Discover how the art of letting go can open the doors to a freer and more fulfilling life. Join us on this journey toward emotional freedom and learn to release what no longer serves you. What does it mean to let go? From the time we are young, we learn to cling to things, our favorite toys, the people who care for us, the memories that make us feel safe. We grow up believing that the more we have, the more complete we will be. However, there comes a time in life when we realize that this accumulation, rather than making us feel free, can become a burden. This is where the art of letting go begins. Letting go is a deeply liberating act. It is not about renouncing what we value or distancing ourselves from what matters to us. Letting go is understanding that there are things, people, situations, or emotions that have already served their purpose in our lives. It's like holding something in our hand for so long that we forget we have the option to open it. Letting go is that opening. It is allowing ourselves to live without the weight that holds us back. Sometimes we think letting go means losing. We believe that if we release something or someone, we will be left empty. But the opposite is true. When we let go, we make space for new experiences, new people, and new opportunities. It's like cleaning out a closet full of things we no longer use. When we do, we find room for what we truly need now, in this moment. Letting go is a process that begins in the mind and reflects in our entire being. It is about no longer resisting what life presents to us. It is accepting that some things are beyond our control, and that's okay. We've been taught that we must have everything under control, but the truth is, absolute control is an illusion. The only thing we can truly manage is our attitude and our willingness to move forward. At the heart of letting go is acceptance. When we accept that everything in life is ever-changing, that people change, circumstances evolve, we understand that holding on only brings suffering. Life flows constantly, and if we remain stuck in what was or what we wish it had been, we stagnate. But if we learn to let go, we flow with it. Letting go also means forgiving ourselves for past mistakes. Often we carry guilt that prevents us from moving forward. Blaming ourselves for what we did or didn't do is like carrying a backpack full of stones, each stone representing a judgment we've placed on ourselves. When we release that weight, we allow ourselves to walk lighter. We give ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to keep learning. Another important aspect of letting go is releasing expectations. How often do we expect things to be a certain way? We want people to behave according to what we believe is right, for life to follow our plans as if it were a script we've written. But life has its own rhythm and its own mysteries. When we let go of these expectations, we stop fighting against what is and begin to live with more lightness. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. It is looking back and honoring what was without staying trapped in it. It is being grateful for the experience, learning from it, and continuing to walk forward. Letting go is choosing peace over control. It is an act of self-love because it frees us and allows us to live more authentically and fully. Some may think letting go is a passive act, but it is quite the opposite. Letting go requires courage. It takes bravery to detach from what is familiar, comfortable, or no longer serves us. It is an act of faith in life, in the future, and in ourselves. It is trusting that when we open our hands, life will place something new and meaningful in them. The art of letting go is a journey taken step by step. Sometimes we let go little by little. Other times, we take a big leap. What matters is starting, looking within and asking ourselves, what is it that I no longer need to carry? What would make me feel freer if I let it go? Letting go is allowing the past to remain in the past. It is allowing ourselves to live in the present with an open heart and the confidence that the future will bring what we need. It is living lightly, without chains that bind us or weights that hold us back. It is finding true richness in simplicity, and so the art of letting go becomes a daily practice. In every breath, every decision, every step we take, it is remembering that we are not what we possess or what we've lost, but what we are capable of being in this moment, here and now. The benefits of letting go. Letting go is one of the most liberating decisions we can make. When we learn to release, we feel the weight we've been carrying lighten and our lives become simpler. It's as if we can suddenly breathe again. By letting go of worries, grudges, or old wounds, we create space for calm. We no longer depend on things being exactly as we want them to be to feel balanced. Peace arises within us, without needing everything around us to be perfect. We also gain emotional freedom. By releasing fear and the need to control, we stop being prisoners of the past or anxious about the future. We allow ourselves to live in the present with more lightness, free from attachments that limit us. Letting go improves our relationships. We stop imposing expectations on others and learn to accept people as they are. This creates healthier bonds, where respect and understanding replace control or demands. Additionally, when we let go of what no longer serves us, we regain energy. We stop investing time and effort in what drains us, and that energy returns to us. We feel more motivated to move forward, try new things, and enjoy life. Another benefit is mental clarity. When we stop clinging to what no longer works, our mind clears. We can make better decisions, see new opportunities, and act with serenity instead of desperation. Letting go also strengthens self-trust. Every time we release something that was holding us back, we discover that we are capable of moving forward, that we don't need to depend on situations or people to be okay. It connects us with acceptance. We understand that life changes, that some cycles end and others begin. Resisting the inevitable only makes life harder. Letting go allows us to live with more lightness and open ourselves to new possibilities with hope. Letting go also reduces stress and anxiety. It frees us from the need to control what is beyond our reach and teaches us to live in the present without carrying the weight of the past. Perhaps the most valuable aspect is that it connects us with what truly matters. We realize that we don't need to hold on or accumulate to be happy. What's important is to live from the heart, to share and to be present. Letting go is not losing. It is gaining space for a fuller, more peaceful life. Identifying what holds us back. Sometimes we move through life with a weight we don't even know we're carrying. It's like wearing a backpack full of things we no longer need but continue to carry without realizing it. Emotions, thoughts, memories, and relationships pile up over time and can become anchors that prevent us from moving forward freely. That's why it's important to recognize what is holding us back, what we keep clinging to, even though it no longer makes sense. In the present, one of the main things that bind us is emotional attachments. This happens when we place our happiness in the hands of something or someone outside ourselves. It could be a draining relationship, a job we no longer enjoy, or an old self-image we're afraid to leave behind. We confuse attachment with love or commitment when, in reality, it's a need to cling to avoid emptiness or uncertainty. But this clinging only limits our growth. We are also held back by beliefs we've learned and never questioned. Phrases like "I'm not enough," "I'll never make it," or "I don't deserve to be happy" become ingrained in our minds and condition every decision we make. These ideas repeat until they seem like truths, even when they're not. Recognizing them is the first step to stop living under their shadow. The past can be another heavy anchor. Unhealed wounds, unforgiven mistakes, stories we replay over and over in our heads. All of this keeps us tied to moments that have already passed. The past has its place, it's part of who we are, but it shouldn't define or limit us. Identifying which parts of the past we're still carrying helps us take the first step toward letting go. Expectations are another trap. We imagine how things should be, how people should behave, or how we should react. And when reality doesn't match that image, we suffer. Life has its own rhythm, and learning to release these expectations allows us to find peace in what is, rather than being trapped in what isn't. Fear is one of the strongest chains. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of not being accepted. Sometimes we'd rather stay where we are, even if we're unhappy, just because we're afraid of the unknown. Recognizing these fears and understanding that they are part of the process of letting go is a crucial step toward reclaiming our freedom. We also bind ourselves to the image we have of ourselves. We insist that we are a certain way and stay there, not allowing ourselves to change or evolve. But life is constant change, and resisting it keeps us from discovering new ways of being. Guilt is another heavy burden. Guilt over what we did or didn't do, what we said or didn't say. These weights keep us stuck in the past and prevent us from living in the present. Accepting that we all make mistakes and that we deserve our own forgiveness is necessary to move forward. Even our habits and routines can become chains. We stay in the same place with the same people or doing the same things out of habit without asking ourselves if it still makes sense. Taking time to review our choices is key to deciding whether we want to continue on the same path or start anew. Identifying what holds us back requires honesty and courage. It's not an easy exercise, but it's necessary to start living more authentically and lightly. When we can recognize these ties, we have the power to choose which ones to release, and in that act, we take the first step toward deeper, truer freedom. Techniques for practicing detachment. Practicing detachment is a process built little by little with patience and dedication. It doesn't happen overnight, but is a constant practice that invites us to release what prevents us from living in peace. There are simple and effective techniques we can incorporate into our daily lives to achieve this. One of the most powerful is mindfulness. Being present in the here and now helps us stop getting stuck in what happened or what might happen. When we pay attention to our breath, our body, and our thoughts without clinging to them, we begin to understand that many of our worries arise arise from not accepting the moment as it is. Detaching from material objects is another simple practice. Often, we accumulate things thinking they provide security when in reality, they end up occupying space in our minds and hearts. Giving away what we no longer use, organizing our spaces, and letting go of what we don't need trains our ability to release. Working with our thoughts is fundamental. By observing what passes through our minds, we can identify limiting beliefs, question them, and recognize them as mere interpretations. This allows us to let them go when they no longer serve. Gratitude is a powerful tool. When we appreciate what we have and who we are, we stop focusing on what we think we lack. Gratitude each day helps us release the need to control and live with more calm and trust. Meditation is key in this process. Sitting in silence trains the mind to observe how everything passes and changes. This gives us the confidence to let go without fear, knowing that what worries us today may transform tomorrow. Writing is also helpful. Putting into words what we feel, what weighs on us, or what we want to leave behind can be liberating. A letter we never send may be enough to start the process of letting go. Forgiveness is an essential practice. It doesn't mean justifying what happened, but freeing ourselves from resentment to stop carrying a wound we no longer want to hold on to. It's an act of love toward ourselves. We can also make a list of what we want to release. Writing it down gives us clarity and reinforces our commitment to detachment. Reviewing it helps us see the progress we've made. Connecting with nature teaches us that letting go is part of life's cycle. Watching a river flow or trees shed their leaves reminds us that we too can do the same. Detachment isn't about renouncing love, it's about loving freely. It's allowing life to take its course without clinging or imposing our ideas. Every time we release something that binds us, we move closer to peace and inner freedom. Releasing expectations and judgments. Living with expectations and judgments is like always walking while looking at a map we drew long ago, unaware that the path has changed. An expectation is that rigid idea we form in our minds about how things should be, how people should act, how life should respond to our efforts. A judgment is that inner voice that labels every situation as good or bad, right or wrong, deserving or not. Both attitudes keep us trapped in a limited vision and prevent us from living with freedom and openness. Expectations often stem from our desires or fears. We imagine how a person should act, how the world should respond to our efforts, how events we consider important should unfold. And when reality doesn't match that image, frustration arises. We think something is wrong, that there's a mistake, that the other person failed us, that life isn't fair. But life never promised to fit our plans. When we learn to release expectations, we find space for surprise, for gratitude for what is, even if it's different from what we imagined. Expectations also distance us from others. Expecting someone to love us in a certain way, to act a certain way, or to meet our needs without us asking, is demanding they be something they may not be able or willing to be. When we let go of that pressure, we can see the other person as they truly are, without filters or demands. And in that acceptance, a more sincere relationship is born based on respect and understanding. Releasing expectations also means no longer expecting ourselves to live up to an image that doesn't align with who we are now. There are stages in life when we are strong, brave, and decisive, and others when we need to care for ourselves, pause, or even start over. When we stop demanding that we meet an ideal image, we find peace in who we are now without needing to prove anything or chase after perfection. On the other hand, judgments chain us to a closed-off view of reality. Judging is labeling, reducing life to categories that simplify something much broader and deeper. When we judge, we stop understanding. We say, "This is wrong," or "this is right," without opening ourselves to the reasons, circumstances, or lessons behind each situation. Judging others creates separation. We think we hold the truth and that others are wrong. We struggle to put ourselves in their shoes because we believe our way of seeing the world is the correct one. Releasing judgment is practicing humility, understanding that each person has their own path, their own stories, their own wounds and lessons, and that from their perspective, they are doing their best. Judging ourselves can be even harsher. We criticize ourselves for every mistake, demand perfect results, and blame ourselves for past decisions. This attitude keeps us tied to the past and prevents us from moving forward with confidence. Releasing self-judgment is looking at ourselves with compassion. It's recognizing that we've learned, that we're growing, and that every step, even the clumsiest, is part of of the process of living. A simple practice for releasing expectations and judgments is to observe them when they arise. Instead of immediately judging or expecting something specific, we pause and breathe. We ask ourselves, is this thought an absolute truth, or can I open space to see the situation from another perspective? This small pause, though it may seem insignificant, makes a huge difference in how we relate to the world. Another way to let go is to cultivate patience. Often, judgment and expectation arise from impatience, from wanting things to happen quickly and in our way. Patience teaches us to wait without anxiety, to trust that everything arrives in its own time and form. And while we wait, we can live mindfully, enjoying what already is and what is present. It also helps to remember that life is constant change. What seems like a problem today may be a lesson tomorrow. What hurts us now may bring us wisdom later. Releasing judgment is opening ourselves to this natural flow of existence without getting stuck in a single interpretation. Releasing expectations and judgments is choosing freedom. It's allowing people, situations, and ourselves to be as we are, without forcing, resisting, or imposing. And in that act of letting go, we find deep peace, a lightness that lets us enjoy life without so much weight in our minds and hearts. The power of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness is one of the most healing forces that exist. At first glance, it may seem that forgiving is doing a favor for the person who hurt us, but in reality, it's a gift we give ourselves. Forgiveness doesn't change the past or erase what happened, but it releases the pain we've been carrying. It allows us to let go of resentment, that emotion that burns inside and keeps us tied to the harm we experienced. When we forgive, we break that chain and give ourselves the opportunity to heal. Many people believe that forgiveness requires the other person's remorse, an apology, or some form of reparation. But true forgiveness doesn't depend on anyone else. It's an intimate, silent, and profound act. It's not about forgetting what happened or justifying it. It's understanding that we don't want to keep feeding the pain that situation caused us. It's deciding that our well-being is worth more than any past wound. Forgiving isn't always easy. Sometimes the wound is deep. The pain has stayed for so long that it seems to have become part of us. But when we take small steps, when we allow ourselves to open our hearts even a little, we begin to feel how forgiveness liberates us. The knot inside us loosens, the weight of anger and sadness lifts, and in its place, peace appears. Forgiving others is important, but forgiving ourselves is even more so. We are hard on ourselves. We reproach ourselves for decisions, mistakes, or attitudes we had in moments when we were doing the best we could with what we knew and felt. Forgiving ourselves is accepting that we are human, that we make mistakes, and that we are here to learn. It's looking at ourselves with tenderness and saying, it's okay, I deserve to move forward without carrying guilt. Alongside forgiveness, acceptance plays a fundamental role in this journey. Accepting isn't resigning ourselves or giving up. Accepting is seeing things as they are, without embellishment or denial. It's recognizing what we feel, who we are, and what has happened. It's allowing ourselves to be at peace with life, even when it isn't what we expected. Accepting what we cannot change is one of the bravest and most liberating acts we can perform. We've been taught to fight against what we don't like, to resist, to force everything to fit our idea of how things should be. But life doesn't follow a predictable plan. When we accept what is, we stop wasting energy on resistance and can focus that energy on building something new from a place of serenity. Acceptance also teaches us to live with uncertainty. We won't always have clear answers or guarantees about how things will turn out. Accepting this means leaving space for trust, for understanding that life follows its course and that we are part of that flow. We don't have to understand or control everything to be at peace. Forgiveness and acceptance are two forces that go hand in hand. When we forgive, we accept the past as it was, and when we accept, we free ourselves from the need to change what cannot be changed. This doesn't mean we stop wanting to improve or grow, but we do so from a place of peace, not from struggle or guilt. A simple practice to strengthen forgiveness and acceptance is inner silence. Taking a moment to breathe, close our eyes, and feel our hearts, asking ourselves, who or what am I still holding on to? And in that silence, telling ourselves that it's time to let go, that it's time to open our hearts and allow forgiveness and acceptance to do their work. We can also write down what we feel. Sometimes putting into words what we've kept silent helps us release. Writing a forgiveness letter, even if we never send it, is a step toward healing. Or even saying it out loud in a safe space where we can be honest without judgment. Forgiveness and acceptance aren't goals we achieve once and for all. They are paths we walk every day. There are moments when it seems we've completely forgiven, and then the pain returns. That's okay. It's part of the process. What matters is to keep moving forward, to keep choosing peace over resentment, understanding over judgment. When we integrate forgiveness and acceptance into our lives, something changes deeply. We start stop feeling like victims of the past. We stop carrying stories that no longer represent us. We open ourselves to a lighter, more honest and freer life. Integrating the art of letting go into your life. Integrating the art of letting go into daily life is an exercise in presence, awareness, and will. It's not a one-time act, but a continuous practice that gradually transforms how we live, feel, and relate to the world. It's understanding that letting go isn't about forgetting the past or losing what's valuable. It's about making space for what's new, authentic, and meaningful now. The first step in integrating this art is cultivating daily awareness. Pausing for a moment, taking a deep breath and asking ourselves, is there something I'm holding on to too tightly? It could be a worry, a fixed idea, a painful memory, or a heavy expectation. Sometimes, just a conscious breath is enough to loosen that knot we feel in our chest or mind. Doing this every day trains us in gentle detachment, without forcing anything, without fighting against ourselves. Living in the present is the foundation of it all. When we stop clinging to the past or anticipating the future, we discover that here and now we have what we need. We don't need to carry what's already past or control what's to come. The only real thing is this moment. And in this moment, we can choose to live lightly, without chains that limit us. Another way to integrate letting go is to examine our relationships. Are we in them from a place of freedom or attachment? Love isn't possession, it's companionship. If we love from respect rather than need, we allow the other person to be, grow, and choose their path, and we do the same. In this way, love becomes free and true. It's also important to review our goals and dreams. Sometimes we pursue objectives that were important in another time, but no longer inspire us today. Letting go also means allowing ourselves to change direction, to close cycles and begin new paths. We've been taught that giving up is failing, but often releasing a goal that no longer resonates is an act of courage and honesty with ourselves. The body can be a great teacher in this process. Listening to its signals, moving it with care, practicing activities that connect us with breath and natural movement helps release accumulated tension. The body holds memories and emotions, and when we learn to release that physical burden, the mind and heart also become free. Integrating the art of letting go is remembering that we don't control external events, but we can choose how we respond to them. We can choose to open our hands instead of clenching them. We can choose to trust instead of fear. We can choose to move forward instead of staying anchored. Living with conscious detachment allows us to experience a fuller life, where every moment is valued for what it is, without demanding it be different. We become more flexible, more compassionate, and more at peace with the world and ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the art of letting go. If this content has been helpful, I invite you to subscribe to the channel to continue exploring together themes that help us live more mindfully and fully. I'd love to read about your experiences in the comments. What have you let go of? What would you like to release? See you in the next video.